The table stakes are changing in the financial markets with increased emphasis on corporate citizenry and ESG values. What role could analytics play in that arena?
Yeah, I mean it's interesting to see, the focus on ESG, and then now that, the economy, people are saying the economy is, turning the corner, or we have inflation and the Fed's raising interest rates. Maybe people care less about ESG, or potentially care more. And so from my perspective, analytics really offers the opportunity for what I'll consider to be an ESG shakeout. So one of the things we talk about in my class with students is, is the particular corporation or company really green, or are they effectively greenwashing? And you can think about using analytics to help, distill greenwashing versus, let's call it true ESG, or true green investments. A couple applications are, like there are satellite images now that you can buy and track, where the oil tankers are, to see, for example, whether the company is actually being truthful about, what the position of the tanker is. About mining operations or forestry operations, like if a company says they're not clear cutting a forest, you can actually pay to have a satellite look over it and to see whether in fact they're clear cutting a forest. There are interesting applications now for identifying and measuring carbon emissions, right? So there's been a lot of discussion over SEC's proposal to mandate scope 1, 2, and 3 carbon emissions. But you can use satellites and infrared imaging to actually track the carbon emissions at the individual production level. And that information, I think, will help investors and stakeholders who are serious about ESG and committed to ESG actually evaluate whether managers are, just talking the talk, or whether they're, actually walking the walk. And that, I think, will be helpful. Certainly, if we think about corporations as having an interest in the planet and broader society, I think it'll help investors more efficiently allocate their capital to corporations who embrace their values.
And Michael, from your perspective, do you see any link between the opportunities around analytics and ESG and the values that, as a society, we're placing more and more emphasis on?
Yeah, I think there are huge opportunities, because I think that's where, in some sense, the largest gaps are. Right? Analytics can really help define, measure, and monitor DEI, CSR, consumer CSR,
Corporate
and
social
ESG.
responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. I'm getting confused by my own acronyms. Thanks, Eric. Because currently, I think it's the lack of objective measurement, analysis, and transparency that's hindering these initiatives. And let me give you two examples. One, I recently was working with a couple of chief diversity officers through an educational program here at Wharton. And they were really concerned about reductions in their budgets and cutting of resources available to them. And so they're trying to understand how they can make the case more forcefully to upper management, investors, that they need these resources. But the best way to convey the need of those resources is through objective evidence and hard facts that you can't turn away from. Another example is there was a recent research paper, somewhat recent, that actually showed how ESG ratings were being manipulated to reflect higher stock returns. What was being done was that the ratings were changed after the fact to make it appear as if more friendly or greener firms had performed better. But it was precisely because of data analytics that this type of behavior was uncovered. So, really to build on what Dan had said earlier, I think analytics are central for the success and progress of these initiatives going forward.